I am Dr.K.Sumathy, Assistant Professor and Head, Department of Economics. I am working in K.S. College of Arts and Science. Today I discuss the topic of production function. Production is a process in which the physical inputs are transformed into physical output. The output is the function of input. The functional relationship between physical inputs and physical outputs of the firm is known as production function. According to Professor George J. Singler, production function is the relationship between input and production services per unit of time and output of product per unit of time. Production function helps in making long run as well as short run decisions. In economic theory, there are two types of production function. First one, production function with one variable input. It is short run production function called the law of variable proportion. In this case, the firm tries to increase output by increasing any one of the input, keeps other inputs constant. Second, production function with all variable inputs. This is a long run production function where all inputs are changed and the result output studied. This is otherwise called as return to scale. Law of variable proportion. Production function with one variable factor. Law of variable proportion occupies an important place in economic theory. This law is a widely observed law of production which takes place in the short run. This law is also known as the law of proportionality. In the theory of production, the law which examines for relationship between one variable factor and output, keeping the quantities of other factors fixed. It is called the law of variable proportions. According to Benham, as the proportion of the factor is a combination of factors is increased after a point, first the marginal and then the average product of the factor will diminish. Assumptions. The law is based upon the following assumptions. The state of technology in production remains constant and unchanged. Only one factor of input is made variable and other factors are kept constant. All the units of the variable factors are homogeneous. The entire operations is for short run. As in the long run, all the inputs can be variable. Various factors of production have to be combined to produce goods. The level of output depends upon the combination of factors. In order to bring out the change the level of production, the amount of various factors engaged in the production will have to be changed. An increase in production is possible only when all the factors are increased simultaneously or when the same of the factors is increased while other factors remain constant. Therefore, to bring out an increase in output, the production uses more and more of the variable factor with a given amount of the fixed factor. The theory of production, the law which explains the relationship between one variable factor and output, keeping the amount of other factors fixed, is called the law of variable proportion. In the table shows that fixed factors remain constant, variable factors changing, total production is increasing, average production is calculated by total production divided by various factors, Marginal production is difference between the total production. Variable factors increase at the first stage, increasing the return. In the second stage, diminishing the return. At the third stage, negative return. In the diagram shows the x-axis represents amount of the variable factors, y-axis represents output. TP is the total product curve, AP is the average product curve, MP is marginal product curve. In the first stage, the product increases at an increasing rate. This stage represents increasing returns. In the second stage, the total product continues to increase but at the diminishing rate. In this stage, average products and marginal products are declining but are positive. This stage is the diminishing returns. In the stage 3, the total product decline and therefore the total product curve slopes downward. The marginal product becomes negative. This stage is the negative returns. 3 stages of the law. In the first stage, the total product increased at an increasing rate. This stage represents increasing return. In the second stage, the total product is continuous to increase but at the diminishing rate. In this stage, average product and marginal product are declining. This stage is called diminishing return. In the third stage, total product decline and therefore the total product curve slopes downward. The marginal product is negative. So this stage is called negative return stage. Law of return to scale. Under law of variable proportion, we studied the nature of change in output when factor production are altered by keeping at least one factor constant and other factor variables. Hence, the law of variable proportion is the shortened phenomena. But under returns to scale, we study the nature of change in output when all the factors in a scale are altered. In other words, the return to scale explains how the alteration of all the factors in the same ratio affects the output. Hence, return to scale is the long-term phenomenon. Definition. The term return to scale refers to the change in output as all factors changed by the same proportion. 3 stages of return to scale. The return to scale may be either equal or more than equal or less than equal in proportion. Hence, when the scale is increased, we may get either increasing return or constant returns or diminishing returns. In the first stage, if the increasing in all the factors, that is scale, leads to a more than proportionate increase in output, returns to scale are said to be increasing return. In the second stage, if the increasing in all the factors leads to the proportionate increase in output, return to scale are said to be constant return. In the third stage, if the increase in all the factors leads to less than proportionate increase in output, return to scale is said to be decreasing scale. The law of returns to scale states that when all factors of production are increased in the same proportion, output will increase, but the increase may be at increasing rate or constant rate or diminishing rate. In the above table shows that in the stage 1, the total product increase more than proportionately, that is, marginal product as 5, 10 and 15. Hence, stage 1 reveals that increasing returns to scale. In the stage 2, the total product increase proportionately, that is, marginal products as 15 and 15. Therefore, in the stage 2 is constant returns to scale. In the stage 3, the total product increases less than proportionately. The marginal product is diminishing, that is, marginal products as 10 and 5. This shows the diminishing returns to scale. In the diagram shows that x-axis represents scale of inputs, y-axis represents marginal product. In the law of returns to scale, 3 stages. First stage, increasing returns to scale. Second stage, constant returns to scale. Third stage, decreasing returns to scale. In the first stage, increasing returns to scale occurs when increase in output is more than proportional to an increase in inputs. In the second stage, constant returns to scale occurs when increase in output is proportional to an increase in inputs. In the third stage, decreasing return to scale occurs when increase in output is less than proportional to an increase in inputs. Difference between law of variable proportions and return to scale. Returns to the factor and returns to the scale are two different laws of production. The following table summarizes the difference between law of variable proportions and return to scale. Law of variable proportions and return to scale. The law of variable proportions applies in the short run. In the law of return to scale applies in the long run. In the law of variable proportion, the level of production is changed. In the law of return to scale, scale of production is changed. In the law of variable proportions, only 1 units of the variable factors are changed and the units of fixed factors remain the same. In the law of return to scale, all factors of production are changed in the same proportion. In the law of variable proportion, there are 3 stages in this law. In the first stage, increasing returns. In this stage, total production and average production rises, marginal production rises and starts falling. In the second stage, diminishing returns. In this stage, total production rises at a diminishing rate, average production and marginal production declines. In the third stage, negative returns. In this stage, total production and average production declines and marginal production becomes negative. In the law of return to scale, there are 3 stages in this law. In the first stage, increasing returns, it occurs when increase in output is more than proportional to increase in inputs. In the second stage, constant returns. It occurs when increase in output is proportional to increase in inputs. In the third stage, decreasing returns, it occurs when increase in output is less than proportional to increase in inputs. In the law of variable proportion, increasing returns are due to underutilization of fixed factors and diminishing returns are due to use of fixed factor at output capacity. In the law of return to scale, increasing returns are due to economies of scale. It includes both internal and external economies. Decreasing returns are due to diseconomies of scale. These are basically managerial. In the law of variable proportions, a rational producer will operate in stage 2 with diminishing returns. It is also known as law of returns to various factors or diminishing returns. In the return to scale, there is no stage which is the best in the long run. Thank you.